some fun.
It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen Podcast, episode number 116. My name is Tony B. Alongside me is David B. Special guest on mic 3, Jeremy. And we have Nolan on mic 4 right now, the young gun in the industry. The views of Ship's Gonna Happen are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses a transportation provider. David, why do we do it?
Transportainment.
Kaboom! That's right. The transportainment of it all. It's a great industry. You'll love it if you worked in it. And whether you're working it or not, you're getting something from it, right?
Something.
Yep. You can catch us on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and our home websites. Too. All you got to do is Google us, put us in a search engine, no matter what your search engine is, and you will find us. Francois is here too. The big man's Francois is here. We'll get him on the mic. David B. Good morning.
Good morning, producer Tony. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Nolan. Good morning, Francois. The special guest today actually is Shawn, or at least in my opinion, bartender Shawn taking care of us today at the Great Divide. We're recording live, recording from the Great Divide this morning. It's a beautiful Saturday morning in downtown Indianapolis, 743 East New York Street. This show, along with all of our other shows, are brought to you by the Great Divide. They do a great job at taking care of us. Anytime you're in town, swing by, tell them the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast sent you. Jeremy, it's just about hockey season. Are you primed and ready, or have you been to a game yet? Or
we're T-minus 13 days away from the Indy Fuels home opener.
All right.
4 days away from the NHL first game.
Okay.
I'm excited to watch Connor Bedard there with the Blackhawks.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be something else.
And you go to Rockford also, too, to watch games every now and again? Or?
I'm not sure. Yes, but I think they're a week out, maybe.
Okay.
They're somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think the Fort Wayne Comets are next week too, maybe. Wow. What a rivalry! To me, there's no better rivalry in hockey than the Indy and Fort Wayne. I think it
goes back a long time.
Oh, and Fort Wayne's such a storied hockey town, a minor league hockey town.
Basketball too. Fort Wayne Pistons became the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, they were actually the Zollner Pistons.
Yeah,
was the name, based off of a company that was.
Oh yeah, that owned. Right. That's right.
And then they ended up being the Detroit Pistons over time. So
everything else. You ever been to the baseball field up there?
I love it.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, you've been to it, right?
City View or Parkview?
Parkview, named
That's a
after.
Beautiful field.
Oh, dude. You sit on the first base.
Is it better than Victory Field?
No, but close.
Yeah.
For a single A field, that's beautiful.
So if you sit down on the first base side, they have like picnic tables kind of like this that are four toppers.
Right. That's nice.
And and if they're open, a lot of times they have those reserved for company things. And the best thing is that the beer vendor's right behind you. And if you get the right beer vendor, I always say this, all you got to do is take your cup back up, because that's how they charge you at those games, by the cup, not by the pour.
Oh. So
that's how they keep track of their inventory. So if you get the right person taking care of you, and if you tip well, you can just keep getting that cup filled up.
Wow.
So I hear. But Jeremy, what else is new in your life? We have some things that we definitely want to talk to you about today. What else has been going on?
Got a new lady friend in my life.
Congratulations.
I'm excited.
Were you ever married or no?
He was.
Okay, I thought so.
A little less than 5 years.
Okay.
But we've been dating about 2 months now. She's also a driver.
Okay, we meet her at work or?
Yep.
Awesome.
Better than I am. Don't tell her that.
Less violations.
Yeah. Just overall better.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Good.
Congrats.
Kids growing up fast.
They do.
Amos just got a new belt in his taekwondo, and he's starting to spar now.
Wow.
He's 5 in a group of everybody in this group is 7 to 12, and he's 5, so he's the little guy in the group. But he's got a go get him attitude. He takes a lot of whoopings, but
Right.
Nice.
It'll make him
gets
stronger.
back up and goes back.
Yeah,
He goes
that's
right
awesome.
to him.
That's awesome.
He loves it.
Let's get to know the young guy in the room. Our new
Nolan.
addition to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast is Nolan. Nolan, give us a little bit of history about yourself. Talk to us about where you grew up, how you got in the industry, and all that stuff, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I was born in southern Indiana, just north of Louisville, Kentucky, a little town called Henryville. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Population about 600, 700.
Yeah, somewhere
Okay.
in there. Funny enough, that's actually where Colonel Sanders was born.
Right.
Harlan
so
Sanders.
I always tell people it's actually Indiana fried chicken.
Okay.
So yeah, no, but yeah, so born and raised in southern Indiana, and then right out of high school, literally the day after I graduated, I joined the Marine Corps.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thanks. I was on the bus the next morning.
Mm.
So joined the Marine Corps, but I was a reservist, so I went to college while I was in. And during that time, I started working at UPS.
Mhm.
So I was just unloading
The
trucks.
freight dock or the ground dock?
So I was at Clarksville, Indiana, has a little bitty terminal.
Four
I mean,
doors.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's small.
So a ground terminal then? Or-
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, package,
Mhm.
not freight.
Mhm.
And I was just unloading trucks there. And eventually, it was actually funny. I told my boss I was going to quit because I was trying to find a full-time job. He's like, well, before you quit, we really need a supervisor. I know you're in college. And I was like, sure, I'll try it out. And that's kind of how I stumbled into warehouse management.
Right.
So from there, I ended up working for UPS for 5 years, mostly as a part-time supervisor. And then from there, I was actually a manager at Amazon for 2 years.
Okay.
Amazon. Did you like that?
Yeah. I mean, Amazon is a great company. It, there's a reason they are who they are.
Mhm.
They're very on top of things. And worked with a lot of really smart people.
Where were you at? Which Amazon?
Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And then me and my wife, we got married right before I started there, and we actually transferred to one in Oregon,
Wow.
just because we wanted to see the nature out there, and we'd always wanted to go to the Pacific Northwest, and it was awesome. But when we went, it was like the heat of COVID,
Mhm.
so we never met anyone. Like everything was shut down. We didn't make
Everybody's
any
got
friends.
masks
like,
on.
Yeah.
What city did you go to?
Salem, the
Salem.
capital.
Oh,
So
wow.
like an hour south of
Yeah.
Portland.
I was just Portland a month ago, running
Oh,
over
really?
the road.
Yeah.
There is no way I could have named Salem, Oregon as the capital of Oregon.
No.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could have sat here
People
for a
would know
day.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salem's not bad. It's a cool place. Oregon's interesting because the whole state is completely different from Portland.
Mm,
So you have a very rural state, a lot of nature, a lot of very small towns, and then you have Portland, this big city. But so, anyways, we really enjoyed it there, but hard to make friends. COVID was going on, lockdowns, all that. So we ended up deciding to move back to Indiana. And instead of going to our hometown, we came to Indy, and that's why we're here now. And kind of my transition into what I do now is, I'd been a warehouse manager for essentially 10 years, inbound operations mostly, receiving, putaways, stuff like
Mhm.
that. And, but
So why
Turn-
didn't you move real quick here? Why didn't
Yeah.
you move back to your hometown? Because
Well-
there's studies on that say
Really?
you shouldn't do that.
really,
If you move away, they say to not move back.
well, travel's pretty important to me and my wife.
Yeah.
And so I actually, when I was in the Marine Corps Reserve, I lived here in Indy, going to IUPUI. That's where I did most of my schooling.
Mm.
So I'd lived in Indy before, and when we decided to move back, she was like, "I really don't want to move back to our hometown, just because, we just felt like
You're not going to
wasn't-
grow.
yeah, not a lot of
right.
opportunity, and just kind of it's going to be the same old
Right.
as always." And so I said, "Why don't we go to Indy?" I always liked Indy,
Mhm.
so We decided to move back to Indy instead. So we got back here. I got another warehouse job for a different company, and just kind of turns out I don't like being a warehouse manager.
It's a lot of pressure, right, David?
Yeah.
Oh,
And you
man.
say you've been doing it for 10 years, but you don't look a day over 24 at the most.
No.
So,
Well, I'm 30, and technically I was 20 when
There
I
we go.
became.
Yeah.
He looks like
part-time
a CIA
supervisor.
agent.
He does.
He might be a young CIA agent.
There we go.
You know,
You know, I've been
trying to
growing-
bust a Ship's Gonna Happen podcast show.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been growing this beard for like 2 months now, trying to make myself look a little older. Because
Okay.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 30.
Yeah.
Wow, you are
But-
young.
Listen.
Yeah.
You look good.
Jeez.
He said it earlier. I missed that.
Yeah, but
There's a
you know,
football game going on.
It's funny, when I was at Amazon, you know, I was 26 and I was a manager, and a lady came up to me one time. She goes, "How old are you?" I didn't even know this lady, and I'm like, 26. She goes, "Well, you look like you're about 17."
There you go.
And I was like, "Oh, well, thank you."
Right.
I
Did you
appreciate
sue
that.
him for age harassment?
No, probably could at Amazon though, but yeah, I kind of stumbled into warehouse management, and I honestly didn't.
What didn't you like about it?
Well, it is very hard.
So you're in charge of
Very-
inventory. You're in charge of all the trucks coming in, all the
Yeah.
contracts, all that stuff.
Inbound, outbound, inventory.
Nolan, when you say hard, you mean demanding, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, when you're a manager at a warehouse, like, you know, the expectation of everyone there is, you know, you commit your life to that.
coming to
I
get you,
mean,
Jeremy.
Yeah.
They found you finally, man.
Wasn't me, I was here the whole time.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I mean, that, you know, the expectation's very high. And ultimately, like, you know, very long hours, very hard work. But ultimately, you know, I like the operations. I liked all the moving parts.
yeah,
but
that's the fun part of it, right?
that
It
is
keeps you
the
busy.
fun part. The part I didn't particularly like is kind of the people side,
Staffing.
yeah, well, to a lot of people, I mean, a lot of companies, you're almost like, you act kind of like a parent to people
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you know, in my case, were often older than me.
Jeremy
So-
is being taken away.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
coming. They're coming for Jeremy.
They'll never take me alive.
They got Jeremy. They got Jeremy.
No.
But yeah, you know, you
Might be Francois they're after. That
Uh-oh.
breakfast might have went sideways this morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sirens, they're coming after you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was of age.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nolan. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, you know, it's a lot of I mean, a lot of times as a warehouse manager, you're almost like a politician, you know, you're trying to win over
Yeah, right.
popular favor.
Right.
You're trying to
You're pissing other people off.
yeah, and you know, sometimes you got to go talk to somebody and say, "Hey, you know, we kind of need you to wear deodorant,"
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
right.
Can't make
I mean,
everybody happy, can you?
Oh
Yeah.
no, and you know, I think I did well, but I just had no passion for it. I really
Just didn't
didn't.
like.
Did
Yeah,
you-
and that's important.
Did you
Yeah.
pull the
Passion.
office space thing and wait till Friday at 3 and say, "Yeah, we need you to come in tomorrow."
Yeah.
Yeah, we need you to
Yeah.
come in tomorrow.
Yeah, no. So I started looking for something else to do, and I looked at a ton of stuff. I mean, my best friend is a truck driver, so I
Okay.
actually looked at CDL driving
Yeah.
for a minute, just
Mhm.
because it was kind of the opposite, right? Getting the truck by myself,
Sure.
you know, none of that noise.
Mm-hmm.
And
I could teach you a thing or two if you need me.
Yeah.
There you go. You
Sounds
got,
great.
you got the man right here.
sounds great. But no, so and now I had heard about freight brokerage, kind of from other places. But from what I looked up online, there was a lot of warnings on like a lot of your big companies. You know, you come in and you know, it's like, hey, get on the phones, start calling people, and if you don't get any business, then you don't get a paycheck.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can't really afford to do that. But what I ended up finding, so the company I work for now is Kula Logistics. It's
Can
out
you
of
spell that for us,
yeah,
please.
it's Koola.
Okay.
Kula.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they based out of?
Carmel.
Carmel.
So just north of Indy.
Yeah.
And what's cool about them is they have a base salary.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're training, as you're, you know, learning the ropes, and as you're kind of building,
Mhm.
you know, your own business, you know, you have that you have a paycheck.
Are
right?
they like
So-
a national thing, or are they
No,
just here
so-
out of Carmel?
No, so pretty small company. I think it's been maybe 3 years. The owner, Steve, he's a really cool guy. He used to be at a big one, big brokerage, and
wow.
he decided to break off and do his own thing.
Okay.
And he kind of wanted to do it differently. A lot of them are known to, you come in, they bring in about 100 people. You got 3 months to
Wow. That's how many people they got?
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying like at a big one, they'll bring in like a class, right,
Oh, okay.
of quite a few guys, and then you
I
got
got you.
you got
You
three-
just get weeded out then.
yeah, you got 3 months to make something happen, or you're done, right?
Mhm.
Get
Wow.
out the door.
Mhm.
And
And there's a lot of those in Indianapolis.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
Do you use like a
So-
transportation board, or do you have like set customers?
Yeah, so it's broker specific. Which-
Your board is broker specific, or is it a DAP board that you
Well,
use,
like
or-
customer wise,
I
it's
see.
broker specific.
Mhm.
So yeah, kind of the way it works is so right now I'm essentially a broker in training,
Mm.
right? So I work with a broker that's
you have training wheels then
yes.
for now.
Yeah, so like I work with a broker. He's been doing it for like 15 years.
Mhm.
He's a really great guy. His name's Trevor. And so basically I help operate kind of his daily stuff, right?
Mhm.
He has, however many loads going on any particular day. And I'm kind of helping him, paperwork, checking on drivers,
Are you liking it?
I am. That's what's, I guess I'm lucky that I do like this job.
Mhm.
And it's been a long time since I could say that. As a warehouse manager, I made good money, but I hated it. I mean,
Mhm.
I kind of did. I told my wife the other day, I said, "Do you remember me on Sundays? Like Sundays, I'd just be like, oh man, I gotta go back in there again." Like,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
for whatever reason, what I do now, I mean, I do like it. It's what I like most probably is kind of the prospect of like you can kind of determine your own paycheck, which is great. In the warehouse management world, you work very hard, you work very long hours. And if you're a rock star, maybe every 2 years, you might get a 10% increase, right? You might get that promotion. It's also based on, does your boss like you more than
Mhm.
the others? And
Mhm.
So Nolan,
know,
let me ask you
yeah,
this
yeah,
real
yeah.
quick, because this is on my mind. So you're doing sales too, or no?
So I'm just now kind of getting into that.
Okay.
So basically we have what we do that's cool is we have a hybrid role. So basically you're still helping that broker, that senior broker, right? And then you start to transition into making your own calls.
And because you're
And-
learning from a person that's got other accounts
Yeah.
and that's managing them and doing all that. Wow, that's cool.
Right.
That's a pretty good
And that-
experience.
And that like kind of gives you that time.
Sounds like
get-
they got a good training program.
Yeah. No, I think the owner, he was kind of sour about that whole, you got 3 months or you're out thing.
Yeah, it can be a brutal world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got kind of a workaround with that, where, I'm helping this other broker. I have time to learn, time to, build my own relationships. And then as I start to have my own customers, I'll transition away from helping him and become,
Awesome.
my own broker.
So
Yeah.
have you done any in-house prospecting? Have you went to go see customers face to face also? Because I'm old school. Your phone call is going to be like, get hung up on. I'm
No,
Go ahead.
so I haven't really done face to face, but just in the last few weeks, I've begun to call people,
Mhm.
send emails, stuff like that.
Sure.
And there are some, I've been in relatively the same industry for a while, so I have a lot of people I know that I've talked to that already knew,
Mhm.
which is nice because you're not calling someone that has no idea who you are, right?
Right.
So no, I haven't done any face to face, but I have made some calls, and 99% don't answer the phone.
I tell
Right.
you what, if that, and I'm going to be polite when I say this, if that
Yeah.
POS brokerage out of Cincinnati, Ohio can do it, you can do it. And they
Call 'em
are
out. Call
they
'em
are
out.
the
Let's do it.
absolutely worst.
Call 'em out. Who are they?
TQL is a effing worst.
There
The
it is.
absolute effing worst. I have no problem with saying
Tell us
it.
who they are.
They even have a stadium named after them. I mean, if they can,
How do you feel?
They have a high
Oh,
turnover rate, man.
gosh, I
Very
hate
high.
That. Just that I tell them and I tell them, take me off your solicitation list and stop calling. They still just.
But it sounds like
Yeah.
that sounds like the VA refinance home people that call me all the time. I'm like,
To
I
reverse
don't
mortgage your
need-
house?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
own it. I don't need a loan. They're like,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
I'm like, why you keep calling me, man?
Yeah. And it's funny because like, I contacted someone the other day and they said, hey, we don't need any help. Please take us off your list. So I took them off the list. I mean, what,
Right.
what's the point of,
But the thing though,
Logan, yeah.
in this industry is they may not need your help now.
Sure.
They may have a souring of the relationship.
Yeah.
It may come back. So our industry's a little it can be
Mhm.
but it can be a little different. But it sounds like that's a pretty good operations. How long did you say? I'm sorry, they've been in operation?
I think it's been 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
I could
Wow.
be wrong. It hasn't been very long.
In a saturated market. And I'm
Yeah,
not trying
right.
to, I'm not, don't take it when I say that,
But
that
it
I'm
is.
trying to poo poo on,
You're not.
whatever.
Yeah, you're not.
It's
just
just a
stating the truth.
saturated market.
Yeah, there's more. It's a good point because there's when I was at Roadway one time asked me, I was a senior there. They asked me to look up how many brokerage firms were in Indiana,
Oh,
and there
dude.
were more 3PL brokers than there are carriers.
just in Indianapolis alone.
Yes,
Wow.
by
Yeah.
far. There's like 5 at the time. There were like 5,000 brokers and 3PLs
Mhm.
in the state. That was
Yeah.
in 2004.
Yeah.
Has there been a drawback so far to this job at all, this new job, other than hearing no or not getting callbacks or anything?
It's a Monday through
Uh,
Friday type thing.
Yeah, it's Monday through Friday. We do have, Saturday and Sunday coverage, and we got late night coverage and stuff like that. But generally, we're working Monday through Friday. That's
Yeah.
when most people are operating. But it's funny. Like, I came into this. I knew inside the warehouse. I didn't really know brokerage at all.
Mhm.
Which actually, apparently, at our company is when they hire people, they kind of like people like that. That have worked doing something else and kind of come in
Yeah.
fresh. But it's funny because, so like I said, my best friend's a truck driver. And I asked him about, brokers. What's the general consensus among the drivers? He was like, well, they generally hate brokers. And
That is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's reasons
Yeah.
for that though.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Legitimate reasons.
yeah, and it's interesting because like the broker I work under, kind of the first thing, he kind of instilled in me was like when we communicate with drivers, ultimately drivers are the ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
Right. They are moving the product.
Yeah.
And kind of our biggest thing is like driver relations.
That's the key. Yeah. I think,
Like-
and that's what some brokers miss is that
Yeah.
relationship.
You have a driver relations guy, right? Don't you?
No. So
No.
we're just
Or a carrier
brokers.
support?
So I know a lot of bigger ones will have like account manager, carrier
Right.
manager, and it's all kind of split up. We're all
Carrie, Sean is in
You know.
back in the area.
We
here.
love Shawn. Thank you, Shawn.
old Shawn.
We'll get Sean on the
Bucket
mic.
two.
Yeah. All right.
No,
Anybody
but,
that's counting.
Yeah, so like we're kind of more
Jimmy, you good?
consolidated, right? We're not that
Yeah.
big. So
It's interesting, man. I'm going to get your contact information.
yeah,
Nolan.
sounds good. I'm good.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, Sean.
But yeah, no, it's been really
Great divide.
cool because I talk to a lot of drivers, and it's little things, right? Like I'll say, "Hey, can you text me when you get there?
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate it. Thank you."
Mhm.
So
That goes
like,
a long way. If
Yeah.
you're actually watching out for us, care about like, you okay? You doing all right? Getting
Yeah.
enough sleep? That
Yeah,
means
right.
the world to us.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's like, and I've had multiple drivers be like, "Hey, I really appreciate working with you because, I don't know, but
Yeah.
what I've gathered is there's a lot of brokers that are like, hey, here's a load, go do it.
Get there.
Let me know when you're
Get
done."
there right now.
That's
right?
by the way, that's a cool sweater you got on, Jeremy. I like
It
that.
is.
Custom made.
Intimidator.
Really?
Intimidator.
That's my handle, yep.
I like it.
I love
Yeah.
it,
I
man.
like it.
Sorry,
That is
Nolan.
good.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it's cool that if you just treat driver's like a human being.
Yeah.
That it goes a long way. And like, for instance, had a guy the other day, he got to his drop.
Communications.
He got to his drop and they said, "Oh, this is you're in the wrong place." And so he called me and I said, "No, I know you're in the right place." And they said, "Well, this was supposed to be, it was a reefer load." They said, "This is supposed to be fresh. You're supposed to be at 35 degrees." He had it at 0, which is what we told him to be at 0. And so then they were saying, "We're rejecting your load because you froze it and you weren't supposed to." So, we reached out to everybody we could because from everything we could see, we were told to put him, at 0. He was at 0. He did everything perfectly right. And then the receiver said, "Oh, sorry, we just realized you are right. But
Should be
like,
0.
like whoops." Right.
Yeah.
So they were confused, but he was an hour early for his appointment. And then they said, "Well, we'll get you about," his appointment was at 10 a.m. They said, "We'll get to you about 3 or 4
See,
p.m. when we
that's
get time." Which was,
That's
and
It's a
I,
no-go.
and it helps that like I've been on the inside of a warehouse, right? So I know that like from my perspective, because I was inbound mostly. So like from my perspective, if I knew a guy showed up at 10 a.m., I'm gonna get him on
Right.
load,
And you're
like,
going to get to him real
Right.
quick.
and it kind of amazes me sometimes that some of the receivers, because like in my experience, if I had a driver sit on my dock for 4 hours,
Yeah.
my boss would be like, "What are you doing?
Right.
Like, get the guy unloaded so he can leave."
Not to mention the driver's
Uh,
getting agitated too because he's
yeah.
not making money. If he's
Yeah,
sitting still.
exactly. He's sitting still. So, obviously I was on his side for that because I thought that was crap too, right? And I don't know, that kind of stuff goes a long way. I guess a lot of, it seems like they have experiences where, they bring that up to maybe a broker and they're like, "Well, deal with it."
Yeah.
There's nothing,
So Nolan, I have a couple questions based on your work history. Talk to us a little bit about working at Amazon. You hear the horror stories about working at Amazon where they kind of don't let you maybe get away to use a restroom when you should,
Yeah.
or is that all just kind of made up stuff,
Um,
or is there things legitimately behind that?
Yeah, no, me and my wife have talked about it before. So I was a manager for 2 years. She's worked as an employee for Amazon, and we're always amazed at kind of the bad rap, um, because honestly, in general, it's a great place to work. I mean,
I think when you're that big, you're just a target.
yeah, yeah, that's kind of been my
And when the
my
other
thing.
company's building his own rocket or whatever, you might kind of get pooped on a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
saying.
No, but like I left Amazon, but it wasn't because Amazon's a bad place to work. I mean, honestly, it's, prior to my current job, which I really do like, and I think it is what I want to do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I think it's the best place I've worked for sure. I mean, they
Pay you
Amazon-
well?
oh yeah.
That's what I heard.
No, Amazon pays well, and they really, the thing is with Amazon almost has its own internal union.
Mhm.
I know that in the news they'll talk about Amazon trying to unionize, which I'm never like really a fan of, not just because I was a manager and I was, anti-union or whatever.
Mhm.
But more so that like it's already pretty much in place. I mean, as an Amazon manager, if you go to some employee and say, "Hey, hurry the F up" or whatever, you are in deep trouble. I mean, that's going to go to the highest levels. I mean, you can't talk to people like that. You can't, you're as an Amazon manager, you're really always trying to provide the best experience to all your employees. You're charged with, like for instance, we do a thing where it is tracked if I have talked to each employee on a certain basis. Like if an employee goes,
Corporate guidance.
like if an employee goes 30 days and I haven't talked to them, that's a problem. I need to check in with them.
Talk to them as in,
Say
"Hey man,
it
how you
good or
doing?
Yeah,
bad.
how you doing? Is
Mhm.
everything okay? You liking the job? Is there
Mhm.
anything
You need to use the restroom?"
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like
I
that.
mean, yeah, the restroom thing, I don't know.
Should we put one closer?
One thing that's interesting is I think it gets mixed a little bit. I think the restroom thing was more so with package delivery,
Right.
but those are actually not Amazon technically.
Right. They're contracted, right?
contracts. Yeah.
They're a third party. That
Do they
work-
buy the territories, right? Or they bid for
Yeah.
them or something?
So
like
Even
that?
though they drive Amazon equipment or stuff that says Amazon,
Yes.
they're
I think so.
They are-
Similar to FedEx Ground.
okay.
They are-
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, where
right,
it says
right.
operated by blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
That's
They're
right.
all FedEx on the
And-
side of the truck and trailer, but you'll see their owner's name.
Do
on
they
the
make
side.
good money?
They make around $20 an hour. Funny enough, I've been one of those.
Really?
For about 2 months, I was a
Did you like
Amazon
it?
package car driver. It's not bad.
It seems
I
like it
mean,
would be a fun job.
So-
I would like
It's
that.
not bad at all.
Yeah, not to change the subject and not to get
Sounds
away
like
from
hard work.
Nolan. One of the reasons that we have, I'm glad Jeremy's here today.
Mhm.
Based on our last podcast, we discussed, and first, Jeremy, we're ignorant to whether a union is good or whether a union's bad. Talk to us about the benefits of working for a union. But I mean this in the right way.
Well, no,
I mean,
UPS union good.
Oh, we're a strong
Yeah,
union, yes.
yeah.
But we make
Some are
up the
bad.
union.
Right.
mhm.
There's pros and cons. What really protects us is, well, dispatchers and other management forcing us to do what
Yeah.
we're not comfortable with.
But like, so let's just go to that, what the carrier delivery part, the small package, right? So here at Amazon would be $20 an hour, right? UPS, I mean, because I worked at UPS.
Oh, it
I
goes
mean,
up.
that's a serious, they
Big-
take that
big
job
deal, yeah.
with serious pride. And it's backing in your driveway, right? Not pulling straight in, right? I will just say this: packages delivered to my house, UPS is by far the most professional. The
do
dude
they,
Absolutely,
do
yeah.
they walk through the yard?
no, they don't. They're the only one that
Better
does
not.
not do it, and they never did it.
Mhm.
They're the only ones that never did. The dude is a professional, man. He backs in the driveway, beep beep beep. You hear him,
Honking horn.
dogs barking.
You got to honk the horn.
Yeah, honks the horn,
That's
backs in,
company policy.
and then even though he's delivering a package next door,
Mhm.
right? He may get that package and then walk it across the street, but then he comes back, gets in, does the whole check left, right, left, pulls out. I mean, it's just the FedEx ground guy is finally not walking through.
Mhm.
Amazon is a different one every time,
Oh.
pretty much.
Put a little
Can't
booby
get
traps
that
in
right.
your yard.
Yeah, but I know that's what. But-
you can't step on your grass. That's a
Yeah.
no.
But
go.
a small pack driver at UPS gets paid very well,
Yes.
right? So I
but
mean,
they got to be on the move. They have a lot of
Right.
packages to
Yeah.
deliver.
right?
Yeah.
Lot.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
let's-
I mean,
no. We're good. Talk to us about that. The union, because again, we're ignorant.
For us, I mean, like my union dues cover my pension. They cover my insurance. My insurance covers me and my two kids, and it's great insurance.
So
It's
the newest contract that got renewed, right?
yeah.
And then this
just
is
passed.
a big benefit, or is this just kind of
Not so much for my division. They added the air condition for the package car drivers,
Right.
which
And it was a big thing for that.
UPS
I don't know if
has
they
also
really
worked
need
their
it.
way around that because it's new equipment
Right.
past 2024.
Yeah.
Out of my hub, they've been buying new package cars left and right,
Mhm.
and so none of them have to be outfitted with air conditioning. Get them in the spotters. We're supposed to get air conditioning and new equipment.
Do you have it in your cab?
The window. That's
You
my air
don't have
conditioning.
AC?
You got 255 air conditioning, 2 windows at 55, right?
I
Okay.
got 2 fans up
But
there,
so
2
that
chrome fans.
would that
Yeah.
equipment deal include you in the future? Or
in the future past 2024, yes.
because what do you do? Explain
right
to us
now,
again
no.
real quick. Because you relay, right?
I bounce between different jobs. Like currently, I'm in the yard moving trailers.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you like that?
I do.
You're a switcher.
I enjoy it because I can control the yard. I know the drivers. I can
Switcher control.
if they need something, I'm right there. I can do it. I can make everybody else's job easier. I hook sets well before people even get in.
So is it all digital now on the board, or
We've
do they
always
still
been
call it?
digital on that. We have a yard control
Yeah.
that'll send us
It was
moves.
my favorite job when I
Let's
was
say-
in.
So we don't have to talk to nobody. It's just this is trailer number. It's in this bay, this door. Take it to this door.
Yeah.
We've upgraded our system where I can see everything in the yard, all the loads. So like I have a driver that goes to Mansfield, Ohio. I'll hook his sets up because I know he's taking Syracuse or Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
loads.
So you're hooking sets too? That's
I mean,
busy.
I don't have to, but he's a senior driver. He's a mileage driver. I like take care of those guys. 'Cause,
Wow.
I mean, they put their dues in. I'll take
It's a
care
lot
of
of
you.
work hooking sets and doing all that, man.
I mean, it only takes me a few minutes. I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years.
So you're an advocate for the union, and they do you well. And this is
It protects us from being forced to do anything crazy. Like they can't fire us just because I said I don't like doing this.
Mhm.
They can't force us to go on the road when it's snowing, which legally they can't do anyways. But they'll try to pressure drivers into taking equipment that's out of date. They can't do that. And they can get in trouble just as much as anybody else can.
Mhm.
We could file a grievance, and so many grievances. I think it's 3. And they get fired.
Mhm. Working for the union, does it give you a feel that you have a set job for life? And
Yeah, because our union, I mean, they strongly are against what's up and coming with the automated, and they're going to protect us to make sure they can keep our jobs,
like drone delivered
yeah.
packages or whatever.
keep our jobs as long as possible.
I think they're doing some of that though. The UPS.
I think they're always trying to do something.
Yeah.
They're involved with the automation out in the Southwest.
You have to be.
But the new contract, we got a little pay raise, which is nice. The previous contract got pushed through because we had an ignorant president, Hoffa Jr. Yeah. A lot of things I could say about him, but I won't.
Tread lightly.
Yeah. I'll end up like his dad.
Yeah.
We had the last contract, they pushed a classification they called 22.4, which they had guys that would work inside the hub and then they would deliver later on, it was a 2-tier pay scale. So they would have to work Tuesday through Saturday, but for less, doing the same job as a typical delivery driver would do. So they got rid of that classification. So they now get paid like the rest of them because they're doing the same job as them. Air condition, which I'm on the fence about the air condition part, because you get into 95-degree weather and you're bouncing in and out of your vehicle. It's 105 and 65. That's going to drain your body. It's going to wear you out. So
Yeah.
I wish they would have done something more like better ventilation, keep it cooler. Just not, because this is 130 degrees back there.
Yeah.
Even our old mule spotters were 130 degrees. During the summer, there was 117. So,
Yeah.
Trailers
Little-
get hot in there, yeah.
No, I'm talking about in our actual
cab?
spotters. Yeah.
Oh wow.
117,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Which, I mean, that's wear you out as well. 10, 11 hours a day.
Oh yeah.
It'll wear you out.
Get you down to your high school weight.
Yeah.
If you're
I don't think that's
So
possible.
that's why you're looking a little lighter these days.
So
I'm
I
getting my
got,
steps in, and there's a little bit of heat.
so I'm curious, Jeremy, if you've seen this. So, I was at UPS for 5 years and obviously on the inside, but I saw some wacky things in terms of like union and company interaction, right? So like something I saw a lot. So say a driver, I'm talking package car, they hit a curb. The company fires them immediately.
Mhm.
The next day, the union has restored their job.
There's a back pay on top of that.
Yeah. And do you see that too? Like that. And it's like, it was so wacky to me because it's like the company knows that's going to happen, but it's like, that's the back and forth
Yeah.
that has to occur. And it's really strange.
It's almost they have to keep a president. They don't fire you today, they can't fire somebody tomorrow for
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So if they let it slide today,
Right.
it can happen as often as they want, because yesterday you said it was okay. Why isn't it okay
Yeah.
today?
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, did you watch any of this, the Yellow demise unfold? Did you watch
I've
any of
been
that at
watching
all?
Yellow Demise since
For
What,
15 years.
2013,
Right.
2010. I remember watching their stocks. They were down to pennies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, the next day they split their
$2.
stock, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, "What just happened here?"
Mhm.
But I've
So-
been keeping an eye on them.
So, what was your thought on listening? Did you have any thoughts when you would listen to their union representation talk? Did you just, what was
think
your feelings when you listened to them?
I think it's 50-50 on their demise. Obviously, the squandering $700 million of taxpayer money,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big flipping deal there. But I think it could have been handled better on the union side. I think Shawn O'Brien was trying to make a name for himself since he's the new. I mean, I don't think he's been president, but 2 months at the time.
Right.
So I think he's from Boston. He's a hard nose. He's getting out there. He knows what he wants, but I don't know if he was. I kind of feel like he was trying to get a UPS suite deal.
Leverage.
And since we were in the contract talks, I mean,
Thank you, Shawn.
you just can't expect a freight to get paid the same as a package. But it could have been handled better. I don't think they did it right.
Right. Well, there's always something that seems to be going awry in the freight industry, no matter.
You know what's funny is I had one brief experience with Yellow. So when I moved back to Indianapolis, I was looking for my next, manager job.
Okay.
Hadn't looked at brokerage yet, and I got an interview at I don't think it was Yellow. What didn't
YRC, probably.
YRC, that's what it was. And I went to a terminal and had an interview.
The Indy terminal or down south somewhere?
It was on Girls School by the airport.
Yep, that's the one. And so I went there and I stood in the hallway for about 15 minutes and I couldn't find who I was going to interview with. And then the manager found me and he's like, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm here for an interview." He's like, "All right, come on." So we went in there and I could kind of see in his face that he was just stressed.
How long ago was this?
This was a year and some change.
Oh, they've been feeling the pressure. They were feeling the pressure then.
Yeah. And so we did the interview and I could kind of just see like how stressed he was and how, up against
deflated. I mean, was it a kind of like I've given up? But
he
no,
was
seriously.
there, but he didn't want to be there.
He was drowning.
He
man.
knew everything he was telling you was a lie.
I've been there. Like I know that look. Like I've
the
been
look of war. You been to war?
Yeah.
Have you been to war?
I have not been
I've
to
seen
actual
that
war.
Yeah.
No, but I mean warehouse war, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're just
1,000 yard stare.
Yeah, no, you're just underneath it, and you're. I always call it drowning, right? Like there's so much stuff you feel like you will never get on top of it, and I could see that in him. And we interviewed for a very short amount of time, and he was like, "Well, hey, man, you're qualified." He's like, "If you want the job, you can have it. Just apply online, and we're good." And I actually didn't take it.
Okay.
Because of how he looked. I knew that I was about to get in.
You're good at reading people, aren't you?
Yeah, I was about to go into the trenches.
Well, Jeremy's here today, so I'm not sure how well he is good at reading people.
Well, he's a CIA agent.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, I'm actually a CIA agent.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no.
That's right.
IMPD's already passed me. They're not coming for me.
Yeah. No, but yeah, man, I could see it. And it's the only time I've ever been offered a job and didn't take it.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah, right.
I wish I could help him, but
Right.
I can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So Nolan, not to push you out of your chair, but can if you're willing to stick around, we could bring you back in the chair later. But we're going to bring Francois, our buddy Francois, on the show if you're all right with that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You're the
Did you bring
best.
any
Are
wine
you
with
hanging
you?
out or are you going to leave?
I'll stick around.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Cool.
That works.
Shifting
Thank you very
gears.
much. That was Nolan.
Francois.
Nolan, new into the industry, a very nice young man. Nolan and I had a great conversation, kind of got to know
Where'd
one
you meet him
another at the Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis.
Rated Indy's #1 dive bar. Correct?
Yeah, it is. The Indiana's
gosh.
*1 dive bar.
Ship's Gonna Happen
Yeah,
podcast. You're
exactly.
listening to Ship's Gonna Happen.
And the #1 reason would be
Francois.
bartender Shawn is why they're the why they're the best dive bar. Francois, how are you, sir?
What's up, brother?
Good to see you.
I'm great. It's good to be seen. Thank
Where you been this morning? Can we ask? Or
Get a
should we not?
breakfast. Tell us about breakfast.
I'm
You
having-
look a little. You got a little bedhead
You
going
look a little
on.
tired.
Yeah.
I'm having coffee with you guys.
Okay.
I'm willing to talk about a lot of things. But,
Okay.
Was
All right,
this
we'll
the-
let you do the talking.
Was this your music for the breakfast?
Oh.
you know, it was close enough because Barry White was playing in the
Get it
background. Barry White led the music.
Yes.
Oh, I
play,
love Barry
for those
White,
of
yeah.
you remember?
Yeah,
What
Barry
a
White.
what a voice. What a
I know, but
outstanding
It
voice.
is. It is. This is
The
one
voice of all voices.
As much as I love music, that I do.
Yeah,
So it's very important
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know. And I'm shameless. I always plug my book in.
Ye-
But my book,
yeah.
every chapter of my book is the name of a song
Yeah.
from the 60s and the 70s. So I love music.
So Francois, before we go,
Yeah.
before
Pink
we go
Floyd.
any, before we go any
Yeah,
further, before
please.
we go any further, we're idiots. We're just flat out idiots. And today,
whoa,
or most of
Whoa,
us.
I'm not. I'm a nice.
That's okay.
But what I
What?
mean by that is that we should have, and we haven't yet, inducted Francois into our Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame, HULO fame. Welcome,
Whoa,
Francois.
wait a
Today
minute.
we are
You
putting
know-
you in our Hall of Fame,
What that is,
which we should have done like
That's a big
long
deal.
time ago, and we didn't, just because we're
Long time ago.
Anywhere
long
you go,
time
that
ago.
pulls weight.
We appreciate your support. We appreciate everything you do. You're an outstanding individual, a person, and,
Well,
and
it's a
we
privilege.
think the best
I
of
don't
you.
know why you guys keep inviting me back.
We
You know
because
why?
I talk
Tutelage.
funny.
You want
we
to know
have some
why?
knowledge we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because you are a good man.
Yes.
You've got
I'm
a
good
lot
man,
of
but
knowledge.
Talking about good men, can I say something?
Here's to Francois.
What?
Cheers.
Thank you,
Cheers,
guys. Cheers.
Francois.
One thing I might say about the gentleman that was sitting in that chair before me.
Yeah.
a
Nolan.
Marine.
Nolan.
Nolan. And I want to say something to all the soldiers out there. I came to America when I was 19 years old. So it was 1979. And by that time, there were still a lot of World War II veterans
Yeah.
alive.
Mhm.
And every time I met one, I give him a hug and I thank you from the bottom of my heart
Well said.
for all those American soldiers, 19 years old, that came and died on the beach of of Normandy, just to free us.
Right.
And I'm ever so thankful to the Marines, to the Army, to the Air
Thank you,
Force,
man.
to all this. So
Grandfather
Have
was
you-
a
cheers
Navy
to
during
them.
World
I
War
drink
II.
to them.
Man, that's a
Thank
good
you.
toast.
Well done.
Have you ever
Yes.
been to Normandy? in
Oh,
France?
absolutely. For those of you who never been to Normandy, you need to go, because I don't know if you know, but the cemetery in Normandy, where all the GIs
Mhm.
from D-Day died, it's American territory. It's not French. You got the American flag flying in the middle of the cemetery, and it is an American part of the world. It's not French, even though it's Normandy. And the goosebumps are unbelievable when you stand in the middle of a cemetery and you think about what those 19-year-old kids did. It's pretty amazing.
I can
So-
say that my grandfather was there.
Yeah.
He made it through that and then got wounded at the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, the bulls.
They sent him there next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My grandfather
D-Day
was
wa-
also in the Navy, but they didn't let him go. He failed a hearing test, so they honorably discharged him.
Mm.
He was having somebody else do his hearing test for him.
One thing I did when I first got here, that was September of 1979. So I just turned 20. I've been here for a couple of months. So if you think I have an accent, no, my accent was a lot worse than that. And I went to a race, a dragster race
Mhm.
down on the
Mhm.
south side of Indianapolis. I remember, but it was a Navy recruiting place.
Mhm.
And I tried to join the Navy because I wanted. I was a sailor. I was a French sailor, and crossed the Atlantic on a boat. And when I got here, I tried to join the American Navy. I wanted to. That sounds beautiful. But after they hear me talk, I say, "You're not from around here, are you?" They say, "No, I'm not." So they didn't take me, but I tried.
You don't have the
I tried.
Indiana.
That's
twang, do
awesome.
you?
I didn't know that. You
No,
never
I did.
never mentioned
I
that
did.
before.
I
That's
tried
cool.
to join the
Yeah.
Navy.
You're not from around here? Are you sure?
Well, I've Indianapolis is my American home. So
Well-
incidentally, I'm a 44-year-old American man. So I'm a young.
Nice.
pretty
Let's
much.
do the whole thing because somebody listening to the show first time wouldn't really know who
Oh, I love the
Francois
story.
is.
Go ahead.
Francois came. Go ahead and explain your little bit of it, and
I'm
without
interested to hear
explaining.
about Cairo. to be
Tell about
honest.
your book.
Cairo?
You got a book.
How do you know
Cairo.
I was in Cairo?
I know your
Isn't that a
We
stories.
talked about that.
Isn't that a
Oh.
syrup?
Well, let me put it this way: I am living the American dream.
Yeah.
I live the American dream. I was 9 years old when I decided I was going to move to America, and it took me 10 years to fulfill that dream. And Indianapolis is my American home, and I love it to pieces. I have 2 kids, 4 grandkids. My legacy is there. My name is there.
And you got some history in Atlanta, right?
And I lived 25 years in Atlanta. I
Yeah.
did. So Atlanta is the place where I've lived the longest. But that part is not in the book, by the way. The book ends 1979 when I'm in Paris on my way to America. And that's the end of the book. But I came here with $50 in my pocket, and yet, both of my kids went to college, and I paid for all of it. So yeah, I'm perfect proof that the American dream is alive.
Could you imagine coming to a foreign country with $50 in your pocket?
Well, $50.
How much English did you know when you got here?
Well, I spoke the English very difficult, and I didn't know how to say many things.
Could you understand it better than you could speak it then?
Oh yeah, definitely. And when you learn a language, that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's two ways. You got to understand when they talk to you, but they have to understand you when they talk to you.
It's a two-way street.
And the two-way street. And so one thing in the book, by the way, I in my life, I left high school when I was 16 years old, but my dream was to be an English teacher, which I never did. But when I was 40, which is not in a book, I graduated from Georgia State University. And I've been teaching French for 20 years now.
Awesome.
Nice.
And
Congrats.
that's a hobby. That's not a job. That's a hobby. I do that. I have a few students here and there, and that's it.
Well, I
Georgia
think-
State have a football team?
The Panthers, yes.
Georgia has a football team too, don't they?
Go Dogs.
That's
Number,
it.
yeah,
Hey,
I was setting
Kentucky.
you up for
Don't
it.
get him
Tonight,
started.
Kentucky,
Thanks, Jeremy.
Georgia,
Oh,
at
my
7 o'clock.
God.
Here we go.
There we go.
Well, I had
Shut
to
his
throw
mic
softball
off.
up. I had
Well,
to.
my son went to Georgia Tech, so I'm kind of tearing up.
Was
Yeah.
Hornets?
Right.
The Hornets?
The Hornets,
Yeah.
the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow
Yellow
Jackets.
No, my son's high school team, the
got it.
Roswell
They
Hornets.
should be the Hornets.
No. Well, the Tech, Georgia Tech, yeah, it's more brain than
B
thing.
Hornets,
Even
Yellow
though
Jackets.
I enjoy
It's a smart school,
watching
right?
yeah, and so is Georgia. Georgia is
Yeah.
a very difficult school. Don't pretend. My daughter graduated there from journalism, and
Okay.
she's having a great career. It's a great school.
You ever use your accent to your advantage? I know I'm asking a dumb question.
Yes,
I
Another
already-
softball.
I see the
Jesus.
question. And don't. Did you say Jesus? Don't call me Jesus.
No, yes.
Don't get me to talk about religion
There we
because I
go.
will upset a lot of people.
Oh, I'm
Well,
just
so-
right there with you.
So, like my generation, French was a big thing in school. They would teach French. I mean, nobody took Spanish. They all took French.
I took German.
Did
Me
you take
too.
German?
Everybody was taking
Okay.
Spanish.
And then today, I
Oh,
would
wow.
imagine
German,
Spanish is probably more
French, Spanish,
prevalent.
sign language.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
Spanish
Etymology.
is I mean, English is number one language in the world. It is.
Mhm.
French is number two.
Yeah,
actually.
that's
If
right.
you look at the Olympics is always French and English,
Yeah.
and the country where the Olympics are being held.
Yep.
Because 1896, I believe, is when the old Olympics started again,
Mhm.
and it was started by a French guy, Baron Pierre de Coubertin.
Yep.
And that's why
That's the
it
knowledge I
found-
was looking for. That's why we keep
Oh.
coming back.
Oh.
That's the knowledge we want.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm an old man.
I'm learning today.
It's not that I have knowledge, but I've lived for 64 years, and you retain things,
Yeah.
So
and you kind of talk about it before it all disappear because one day it's gonna go.
right. So Francois has a book called Made in France. You can find that book on Amazon.
Amazon,
Is
yeah.
that the only place, Francois? That they can find your-
Amazon.com. I have it in a couple of places here in Indianapolis. I
We'll
have
provide
it,
a link on that.
And Andy
page.
Reid's in Fountain Square.
Okay.
They have the book down there. And by the way, shameless plug again, but I'm having a book signing a week from today at Andy Reid's
In Fountain Square?
from
Okay.
2 to 4 in the afternoon.
Indianapolis.
So come
So
because
1 week from today. So
1 week from today, 2 o'clock.
So the 14th.
The 14th.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
the 14th. And I have another one in Atlanta on the 20th. But, if anybody's in Atlanta,
Okay.
get a hold of Dave and he knows how
Sure,
to get a hold
yep,
of me.
yep.
Telling my girlfriend about you and your story before I
Yeah.
got here. It's very interesting. It's a good story. Good life. I mean, that's
It's a good life.
what most of us don't ever experience.
The book's being turned into a movie. Give us an
It
update
is.
on that.
It is. Well, the update on the movie
I'm still
is,
available for that.
Okay, well, it's
This
funny
is
when
my
you
good
talk
side.
movie, I have so many people that want to be in a movie, and
I shaved today just so I can interview. For
yeah,
you.
yeah. Well, the
Movie.
movie.
I could be
everybody-
you at 50.
but you see, the movie, like the book, is going to end when I'm 19 years old. So it's about the young people being in the movie.
So you need extras.
Definitely. Extras. We're gonna shoot 40% of the movie in France, and
I'm in.
Do you
I
need
have
a
plenty of
UPS truck in the
extras over
background?
there, and the French extras are going to be free, and I
can
don't
be
have
free
to
too if
feed
you
them.
buy a plane ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy
well,
might be able to get you UPS.
Can we wear
money.
Can we wear tennis shoes? That way you can tell who the Americans are and who
Well,
the Europeans
I got
are or
boots on.
whatever.
well, it's interesting and it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my dream
stuff,
back
man.
to France.
Yeah.
LA, so it's a good thing.
So this has been on pause for just a little bit.
Well, the strike,
Mhm.
actors and writers strike it's almost over. It seems to be doing well. I talked
Jeremy, do you have?
Logan
Mhm.
yesterday, who is starting to softly get back into it because
Okay.
it's not quite over yet. He was in Seattle. He'll be in Ireland by the end of the month also, because he's got a movie that he's promoting that was created before the strike, so he's been allowed to promote it.
He's going to be where? Northern Ireland or Nolan?
He's going to be landing in Dublin
Okay.
and staying in Limerick, or he told me
Wow.
the name of the city. Yeah,
Mhm.
but incidentally,
Because he just won an award, right?
he's been nominated.
Yeah,
for award.
nominated
I don't
for
know
an
if he's won, but he's been nominated. His new movie BB is called BIBI. He's been nominated, so I don't know. But
Next time you speak with him, if you would give him our best.
I will.
please.
I will. I told him about today, and
Mhm.
he's sorry he can't make it, but he was in Seattle when I talked to him last week. He's been in Mexico, California, Virginia, and Ireland for some reason. So the thing I did, I hired a young French lady,
Mhm.
22 years old, from my hometown in the south of France. But totally coincidence. She lived in America for 1 year. She lives in London, and now she lives in Scotland. So I hired her to help me translate the book into French, which, I could do it, but it would take me 2 years. I don't have time to do it. So she's 22, I'm 64. So you have the old brain and the young brain translating the book together.
Mhm.
And she's very excited. I'm very excited that I'm going to be able to increase the sales.
Yeah, that's
in-
awesome,
It's not
man.
about the money. It's about exposure, if you want. That's what the book, because I got 4 grandkids, and I want them and their kids, then grandkids, to know
Right.
crazy
Yeah.
French grandpa was, and why they were born in America and not in France, and that's a reason behind the book at this point.
Yeah, it's
Um,
an awesome book. Made in
and-
France.
yeah.
You can find it on
Yeah,
Amazon.com.
we'll provide a link too.
Yeah, we'll provide a
Oh,
link
thank
in
you,
the
thank
in
you.
the.
Thanks, Jeremy.
And that young lady, I'm giving her a dream. She's 22, and I also hired her to be my European coordinator,
Oh,
which means at 22, she's going to be responsible to, once we all set with the shooting, she's going to be responsible to find out who to talk to and how much it's going to cost to rent city block in Paris, to rent city block in the south of France to shoot the movie
mhm.
on the street. She's going
Wow.
to be responsible to find vintage cars, for example, to be put on the backdrop of the street, to make it more. So she's 22 years old. She's excited, and I'm making a dream come true for her.
As of today, where are we at with progress?
Well, the as far as progress hasn't started again because of the strike. I don't think it's officially over.
Okay.
But as soon as it's over,
Damn unions.
well, no, union is a good thing, and I think not always, but most of the time it's been a good thing. In fact, we touched on that last podcast
Yeah, we
about
did.
union, that it
Yeah.
all was started in France.
Right.
And I get a lot of negativity for a certain side of American people. You say, well, French people sucks. They never help
Really?
us, whatever. Yeah, I do. But, if you look, number one, why is there so many cities in the United States called Lafayette?
Right.
Because
Lafayette,
there was a General Lafayette,
General
I think,
Lafayette, yeah.
that helped the American defeat the British.
Right.
In some war that happened, you guys,
I think, yeah.
So
we heard
without
about
the
it.
French, America, I don't say wouldn't exist, but we're a big part of making it, of the birth of America.
Well, they funded us money too,
And
right?
money and a lot of
Benjamin
things,
Franklin
and,
lived in France
Benjamin
forever.
Franklin, yes, he did.
So big down there in Louisiana area.
Yeah. So all I have to say is, before you open your mouth and put us down, learn about history and read a book or two.
That's the American way, is to just automatically put things,
Well,
denigrate instead of learning.
Yeah, and I love this country too hard. An American
Mhm.
citizen, and damn proud to be one.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the education system is not as great as it could be. And I know I
I would
raised 2
agree.
kids here. They
Yeah.
went to high school, and
Well, it definitely needs to be better. That's not. It's
it's
not a priority, and that's unfortunate.
what I think. It's important. It's important to know what's going on outside the United States. It is
Mhm.
important.
Yeah.
You got to learn about history, because the more you learn about history, the less it's going to repeat itself.
Right.
Right.
So knowledge is important, as far as I'm concerned, and I know.
One of the things I don't like to refer to is like if the four of us were to sit around right now and watch reruns of the television show All in the Family from the 70s, all of that stuff, every single bit of that is relevant today.
It is relevant.
All of it.
Good old Archie
which is
Bankers.
the
and his
saddest thing that I
son-in-law.
could possibly ever say.
Yeah.
And that's
is.
just my opinion.
It is.
I got a sadder thing. I've never seen an episode. It's
You
before
should.
my time.
You should check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's
And it was definitely part of the 70s. I mean, Archie Bunker was your grumpy old man that,
Carol O'Connor.
Yep.
Carol O'Connor.
Yep.
rest-
Gene
rest his soul.
Stapleton, Carol
Yeah.
O'Connor,
Uh,
Rob Renier.
Rob Renier
mhm.
and his wife.
Sally Struthers.
Sally Struthers. God,
Mhm.
I can't believe that. That's
Mhm.
good,
But it's a show that kind of
It is.
showed our ignorances, and it's
Number one show.
Yeah, it
still
is.
relevant.
And it's
today.
funny, at the same time, you have Archie Bunker's All in the Family. On the other side, you have the
Right.
Jefferson. the
Right.
Jefferson.
Well, and that was a
Mhm.
great
So
show.
It's a
Yeah.
great show
Yep.
too, but you was all African American,
Right.
and all
Mhm.
white, and
Yep.
you have two different side of
Right.
America that were exposed on
The
TV.
Jeffersons, dry cleaners.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, dude.
Moving on.
You know what my
Yes,
favorite
to
was
the
at
east
that?
side.
The
A
favorite
deluxe apartment in
on
the
the east
sky
side.
high.
on the Upper East Side.
My favorite was Good Times.
Yeah.
Good Time.
I
Dynamite.
I loved Good Times. Dynamite. JJ
That's when we only
Walker.
had 3 channels too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Life
You
was
didn't
easier.
have, my God. By the time
Yeah.
you're gonna watch a movie now, you go through 300 different streaming
Yeah.
possibilities, 500 movies.
Telephones were
and
on
you
the
found
wall.
one. Oh, I gotta
Right.
buy or rent
Okay.
it, even though I pay already something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And by the time you're ready to watch a movie, it's bedtime. And
Our
Yeah.
phone was yellow.
And when it rang, people ran to answer the phone.
What color was
when
your
your
phone?
phone rings now? You're like, who the fuck?
What
is
color was your home
calling
phone back then?
Beige.
mine was
Was it beige? Did it start out white and then go to beige? Or
Boom.
My-
Jeremy nailed it.
Oh,
Jeremy nailed
My
it.
first
I found those.
address, my
Jeremy
first
nailed
address in Indianapolis was 53rd and College.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to drink at the Alley Cat quite a bit.
Oh,
when I
I
was-
love
when
I
was
love
20.
that. It's
But my phone was hanging in the kitchen. There was only one phone
I don't wanna
downstairs.
talk
in the
What color
kitchen.
was it?
I think it was yellow.
Yellow
you know,
was like the most popular
yeah,
phone
yeah,
color back
and,
then. I don't know why.
So yeah, that was one phone. I know it's amazing because now I'm driving, and I'm 5,000 miles away from my sister, and the phone ring, and that's her. Say, hey sis, how you doing?
You still have a home phone?
No.
Oh.
No, when I'm driving, my
Got you. When I'm driving, you said driving.
It's every time I look at my phone and I FaceTime somebody in France or in England,
Oh wow.
it's like, whoa, Star Trek. Star
Nice.
Trek is like, I'm actually time
Right.
traveling. Remember the day
Yeah.
Star Trek when they have the flip, beam me up, Scotty,
Oh, yeah.
and they have the flip phone and say, oh, God, that's so incredible.
Right.
And now every day we deal with it.
Yeah,
And,
on the flip side,
I got a UFO
on
story
the
for you
flip
guys.
side, no pun intended.
Let
Yeah.
me remind you.
on the flip side,
Remind me.
yeah, I can't wait.
my oldest Amos turned 6 on the 1st of November.
Don't tell me he's got a phone. Yeah.
No.
Oh.
So I asked him, I was
Yeah, he's
like,
got-
"What do you want for your birthday?"
He wants a home phone.
He wants a phone.
Of
I was like,
course.
"What do you mean you want a phone? You're 6. You know how old I was when I got a phone?
Mhm.
18, and I paid for it."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, my friend has a phone." Well, his parents are irresponsible.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
getting a
yeah.
phone.
Yep.
6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
And then the youngest turns 4 on the 17th.
We-
She wants dolls. I was like, that's
Jeez,
reasonable
yeah.
right there.
When I
Right.
was
So
growing
do
up,
I.
we didn't even have a phone. I discovered a phone when I was 14 when I was starting to work in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was exposed to a phone. Oh my God, that's beautiful. I never had a phone in the house.
Isn't it weird though? The whole
Uh,
thing about it though,
yeah.
like if we go back to when we were younger,
Yeah.
we didn't need a phone.
No, you didn't.
No.
You didn't.
You
didn't
And
need one.
it's a friend of mine say, "How the hell did you get laid?" Well, darling, we
You talk to
we had a
people.
lot of contact. We talked
Yeah.
to people. We went out. We were together. We hang around.
Listen to this voice. That's
You
how I
know,
got
and
laid.
you know what? We had a
Jesus.
lot more contact that you are now because you think you have a lot of contact now through text and social media. But all you do, you look at a screen all day, all
Yeah.
night long, but you don't have the contact. You don't see the person. So
Mhm.
I kind of miss those days.
When Amos's age, I
too.
took apart a rotary phone.
Yeah.
I mean, Kids today don't even know how to use it.
No, it's like,
They just
what
look
is-
at it
What is
confused.
this? You know, a phone booth.
Well, there was
Phone
a
booth.
time when, remember when the push came out, and then you were like, "Grandma still got a rotary."
Yeah, I know,
It was her
yeah,
phone. Yeah.
9, 8,
Touchstone. Yeah.
9.
Screw up, hang up,
Yeah.
start again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think we've been lucky enough to see the changes
Yeah.
in our lifetime, and
And the phone cord was 30 feet long, so you could take it into the other
a
room.
lot of history.
But then mom or dad or whoever, your little sister, would get on
Pick
the
up
other
on the other
phone.
phone,
Yep. Yep. And listen
Get off
in.
the phone.
And they
I'm
act
talking
like,
to my
yeah,
friend.
yeah. There was no mute button.
No.
That's all they
So
needed
anyway,
back then. was
the
a
wish
mute
there-
point
button.
is that we live in beautiful times. I think the new generation, as they go, they take things for granted a little too much.
Very much.
Mhm.
You
Keep
know,
speaking.
everything is given. I have 4 grandkids, and my oldest one is about to turn 11. He doesn't have a phone yet, even though he wants one.
Right.
And you know, I'm glad for my son is actually raising him that way. They're outside riding bicycle, playing baseball.
Mhm.
So
playing football.
how old are you, Francois?
I'm 64.
Which
So
is
64.
the second time that's been mentioned.
I know. I just want to reiterate that. So you're
Just trying to
emphasize
64
that.
I'm
or-
64
I'm messing with Tony.
and
So-
single.
and single, but
Hello there.
my
Were you single this
Put
morning?
that, bring that music
No,
back
no,
up,
wait,
Tony.
no. Listen, you know, I was married 42 years to a lovely lady,
Mhm.
but I've been divorced for 9 months, and you know, it's a new life, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Mhm.
So it's a good thing.
Congratulations.
well, the reason I ask you that is you're 64. Dave and I are in our 50s. Jeremy's
38.
38.
38.
You've
My
seen more-
daughter is older.
Nolan's 30. Sean, how young are you? How young are you, Sean? All right. all
So
right.
just the difference in like with Francois. So you and I would probably be more connected. Well, obviously, due to age, can relate more to what the things we just talked about.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. Like if like we were talking earlier about the World War II generation,
Mhm.
the things they saw in their life,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
there's a cool video on YouTube that shows New York City in the late 1800s and goes through like to the 50s.
Oh wow.
And there was all horse. Yeah, it's really cool. You ought to watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's all horse and buggies. And then you can see gradually how there were just a couple horses left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there were some holdouts. And then the cars came. Then the streets were still like the cars are zipping through everywhere. And then they gradually like, here's your lane, right? Here's your, they didn't have sidewalks.
When did taxis show up?
Well, that 40s, 30s and 40s. Yeah.
That's all you can see now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first car was a 204 with stick shift on the wheel, no safety belt.
What was it?
Right.
204.
It was a Peugeot.
Oh, yeah.
204.
Oh, yeah.
Stick
Okay.
shifts need to come back.
It's a French
Yeah.
car,
I
right?
Yeah,
agree with Jeremy.
Yeah. Stick shift.
Love
yeah.
stick shift.
On the
Manual.
wheel.
Yep.
You have no belt. You know.
Oh, you had it on the steering column.
on the steering column.
Oh,
1, 2, 3,
those are
4,
old
and
school.
reverse, Yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Nolan,
yeah.
do you know how to drive
So-
a stick shift? Nolan's 30.
See, I taught my son, and my
Dude,
son is
I know,
pretty good. with
right?
it. You know,
Let's take him out and shove him down a hill.
you need to drink. You need to learn instructions.
In
But
neutral?
even
Yeah.
you know, even when
now you got to
go,
get up the hill.
Okay, jump start it.
Well,
even when
yeah.
you go to Europe now, you can rent a car without a stick shift automatic. So
Hmm.
you know, but I think it takes a lot of the fun out of
That's
driving.
One of the I
for
think
me.
downfalls to trucking is everything's automatic now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
Well,
quit making
mhm.
sticks.
Mhm.
Well, for
That's when
They
trucks
get
were
better
trucking.
gas
but-
mileage,
but
doesn't
I
a stick
don't
shift?
care.
but
A stick
they-
shift gets better gas mileage.
But
Well,
you-
that and you can pull hills better.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
kids now don't know how to drive them. Don't want to learn. They can't figure it out.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
even making motorcycles
You can't-
automatic.
Downshift going up
Yeah,
hills.
well, you
Right.
know, it's progress. I
mean,
mean,
Is it?
You know, it is. You cannot find progress. You cannot find.
When they're
You
our
know,
age, they're never going to be able to use their
I
left
know,
foot
but-
like we did
but,
on a.
You know, if
Stuck in traffic and your left leg's killing.
And you almost, I almost would, going back to Jeremy's point, going back to everything needing to be a stick shift or whatever, it make people put their effing phones down.
Yeah.
'Cause you have to
that's the other thing.
concentrate
You're
on the
busy.
driving.
You're busy. Yeah.
Yes.
And downshifting, like when I went out west, the mountains out there, if you don't know how to downshift and upshift, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, it's a good
that's
point.
not- when you're a driver now, you just let the truck do its thing.
Yep.
Which I don't.
When
feel
it's
safe.
almost good to have a stick shift when you're trucking if you're in altitudes, right?
Yeah.
When you can go down and put it in lower
There's
gear.
Mhm.
I was talking about Oregon. A month and a half ago, I went a few times out to Portland. They got a hill out there on 84. It's called Cabbage Hill. It's a mountain. I prefer to come back east on it. It's 10 miles. Well, I don't know how many miles. It takes 10 minutes to get up at 45 mile an hour because that's how steep it is.
Wow.
It's constant
Wow.
45-degree turns.
Dang.
Wow.
Going down it, I'll pass because
So can I use question? And I don't know if you have the answer, the numbers, but talking about the progress, going from stick shift to automatic, like you say, let the truck do the things.
Mhm.
Is there such numbers as showing the number of accident that happened when there were no automatic truck and now that's automatic? Is it safer
I think
based
there's
on the numbers?
would be a lot of
It's a good question.
different variables in it. 'Cause
Yeah.
more cars on the street now than there were. I mean, every day there's more people, but I can't answer that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's out there. Somebody's probably done it.
I would think
Some insurance company.
I would think overall, just guessing.
Insurance company, yeah.
Over-
we know insurance company what they're all about, right? And I'm gonna say that because insurance company are not in the business of helping people, they're in
Right.
business of making money.
Making money.
Yep.
Anyway, I just threw
Nope.
that down.
But no,
That's right. I know I
say
sound
that
like a
too.
socialist, but I'm not.
But
damn it.
picking what you're
I
saying
say the
though,
same
like it
thing.
might be isolated. Like overall, probably having automatics better. But like if you're in a pass,
Yeah.
or something like that, it might be better to have a manual.
Yeah,
I feel
think
it
so.
is,
I
but-
feel it is too.
But they don't teach that in driving school
No.
anymore.
I mean, to me, driving a stick shift is so much more fun. Anyway, you
Well,
got
it is.
I
control.
love it.
You got control of it. You
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I used to be so bad. I'll say it's a stick shift at
Yeah.
the beginning, and I had the first phone, the Nokia phone, and I had my coffee, and I used to smoke. So I stick, cigarette, coffee, talking on the phone, and I was pretty good at it.
I bet that phone still
Wow.
holds charge right now.
Yeah. So anyway,
No
but
internet, but-
I'm glad now. I mean, I turn off my phone when I drive. I try to make it stop so I don't get.
Well, the new
Distracted.
cars don't help you either. I mean, you look at these new cars and they're like no texting, no phone calls, but they put a goddamn fucking computer screen
Well, I
in
know,
your car,
I know,
and they're
right?
like, "Here's your
You're
fucking
driving
new
this
message."
fast, Yeah.
I
And
know,
it's
yeah,
like-
CarPlay, which is beautiful. You got the GPS, and it's just crazy. In fact, my son made fun of me because I just bought a car 5 months ago, and you got all the bell and whistle and
Yeah.
CarPlay and the music, and
Right.
I can talk to my car and talks back to me.
Put the big
Well,
old screen to back up.
yeah. Siri still have a problem with my accent, so I got to fight with her when I tell her what to do, bitch.
There we go. There
But
we go.
I told my son, yeah, it's like driving an airplane. And he made fun of me because he builds airplane for a living. That's what he does. And he said, Dad, you so, ridiculously old,
Timmy,
But,
a few years ago, Timmy D and I made a trek to West Virginia, and as we're leaving Indianapolis, he goes, "Give me the address where we're going." I go, "We don't need that. We're good. We're gonna just back road everywhere.
Do
We
it
don't
old
need
school.
a GPS. We don't
Yeah.
need a whatever. We got this or whatever." He
Are
goes,
those
"How in
roads
the
even
hell?"
on a GPS?
Probably not. Yeah.
I know. My kids
Damn it,
always ask
Jeremy.
me, Dad, how did you ever find your way to America?
Maps.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, I guess.
So when I started driving, it was all about maps. We didn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
GPS.
So
You
we're
had to figure out how you're getting there.
we're recording today from the Great Divide, downtown Indianapolis. We got Sports Center on in the background. They're doing College Game Day.
Go
Nolan,
Dogs.
one of the questions that I wanted to ask you earlier was when your time out in Oregon, did you become a Ducks fan? You can just answer it from wherever. That's just we'll get you back on. No. All right. All good. There we go.
Die hard
Nothing
Colts
wrong with
fan.
that.
Yes,
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And the 25 years I lived in Atlanta, I never became a Falcons fan. I
Mhm.
stayed true to the Colts.
There we go.
No, I became a Braves fan. Sorry for the Cub fan all over Indiana. But I
Right.
became a Braves fan.
So they went to how many? They've been to they've played in the playoffs. What 24 consecutive years and won twice. Is that right?
1996 for the first time, the World Series,
Right,
when they won.
right. And they won.
Like Greg Maddox and Glavine there.
Yeah.
And they won the World Series twice.
They
right?
did, and they
just-
they all used to hang around in one of the restaurants I opened in Atlanta. In fact, for you out there, Cub fan, I got a picture of Harry Carey, Chip Carey, and Skip Carey
Oh, nice.
together
Yeah.
in the restaurant I opened, and that's a keeper there. I love
Mhm.
I love baseball, I love football, and as American as can be,
I could see
except for my accent.
Harry Carey when I was a kid, and that's
Yeah.
a memory I'll
It
never
is. It is.
forget him hanging out the window.
Yeah.
I met him in a hotel.
Producer
at,
Tom. Sorry, go ahead.
Met him in an elevator, actually, at, I said hotel, but met him in an elevator at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego.
Did you ever hear about how particular he was with his, when he'd take people out? Like he kept,
Check him out.
like to get drinks.
Oh, okay.
Like he kept,
I was thinking about my Cuban.
Hello again, everybody.
he kept a ledger for tax reasons of everybody he would take out and drinks, beers, whatever. And he would drink some beer, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was a write-off.
He's
And I
like
mean, back in the 80s, he was $200-$300 in beer.
I was watching a game
day.
one time.
Wow, and think about how much beer that was back at those prices. I mean, the beer was dirt cheap then.
I was watching a game when I was a kid. I grew up in Chicago, and I was watching a game one time, and he said, "Hey, Stoney, Steve Stoney. Hey, Stoney." Arnie Harris was the cameraman, and Arnie Harris zoomed in, and there was a man and a girl, boyfriend, girlfriend, and they were kissing a little bit. They were having fun. And here goes, "Stoney, I bet she's kissing him on the balls and he's kissing her on the strikes." And then Stone goes, "Well, again today, we got a crowd of 18,000 here. He looks like a big crowd." And then
Was that
Stoney is still, I'm sorry, Francois.
No, go ahead.
I would say Stoney is still doing games for the White Sox.
Stoney's awesome. He used to do, he moved over to the Sox after I think Harry Carey left, right?
Okay.
And then, so I met him in an elevator at the Jack Murphy Stadium. We went early, and you'd be incredibly surprised at how small Steve Stone and Harry Carey are.
Really?
They're not very tall, dude.
No, short. Harry Carey was
Yeah,
short.
and when I was in LA, you'd be surprised at like these actors they're like tiny people. A lot of them are. They are. I mean,
think between you and I, we've met quite a few celebrities. We would talk
dude,
about that.
yeah,
though,
Tom
but,
Cruise is like, they say he's 5'6". I'm thinking he's like 5'4".
I actually was just, I took my dad to Wrigley for his first time for my birthday, beginning of August.
Oh, nice.
I've been there
What
a
an
handful of
experience,
times.
yeah.
So then one more Harry Carey story. So then I'm watching the game, and the Cubs had just traded for George Bell to the Sox for Sammy Sosa.
Wow.
And so it was in the 8th inning. Harry's tanked, and he says, "This is just breaking across the news. Stoney, it looks like we got Sammy Sosa from the Dominican Republic of California." And Stone goes, "Well, the Dominican Republic of California does not, it's Dominican Republic. It's the Dominican Republic. And yeah, George Bell is no longer, as you've seen, he's left the stadium. He's no longer a Cub," because the Sox had a game that night. And then I was like, "What?
How about your Bears producer, Tony?
The Bears.
They beat Washington Thursday night, right?
Man, hey, I'm glad you mentioned that. One of my favorite players all time passed away, man. Dick Butkus.
Dick Butkus, yes, absolutely.
What a legend, man.
He
What a
was.
monster
He
of the
was.
midway, dude. Hey, back in the day, if you played linebacker, that was the model.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you had no teeth, you had busting knees, you had,
Yeah.
and that was, the NFL was something else.
It's different back then, yeah.
You know, it is good with all those safety net that they have, those.
A buddy of mine, he's 50, 51. He's Bears fan. He's from Danville area. And he is watching the old videos of Dick Butkus, and he was like, all those are penalties now. Everything he
Yeah,
was
they
doing
are.
is
They are
penalties now.
penalties, definitely. That's what I was
Would
going
be.
to, yeah.
I just saw an interview with him where he talked about it was 8 years ago interview. He talked about, was the game safer today or not? And he said the game's definitely safer today. He said the biggest part was the injuries, like being able to repair them and fix them. His injury would have been fixable back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad. So
The concussion is what.
right, that's what he talked
Yeah,
about, was the concussions.
That's the protection
Right.
behind a lot of the new rules, which is a great thing. My son plays football, and I'm glad. My grandson is playing football. He's 11 years old, and it's you look at him, it's your baby, and
Yeah. So let me tell you about
But-
this. Go ahead.
no,
Finish.
no,
No.
that's fine. That's fine.
Let me tell you about this UFO I saw.
Recently?
Dude, it happened.
Did it?
I thought.
Pictures?
I
Or
thought.
didn't happen?
Well,
Pictures, it didn't happen.
let me tell you about it. So Monday, so my mother-in-law unfortunately passed away, God rest her soul. So we come back from Florida. I'm in my backyard. I'm sitting back, drinking a couple beers, and I'm like just trying to take it all in, just the flight, all that. I'm tired. And I look up in the sky, dude, and I see
A bird.
no,
Just kidding.
it's at night.
A plane?
Like it
A
would have been,
plane?
it would be
Superman.
it was so many little circles in the sky. It looked like they were kind of like string attached to them, right? I'm like, what the hell is this? This is unbelievable. So I'm like, all the energy's going, right? I'm like, So then I get my phone out and I start videotaping it, and it won't show up on my camera, on my phone. And I'm like, this is the typical UFO story. It's not, okay, whatever. So I'm going to go get my neighbor. I'm like heading out the gate, and I look back up and it's gone.
Hold
I'm
on,
like, what the fuck
How
is
many
this?
beers deep were you?
Probably 2. It went not very far.
I saw a Sasquatch last week.
Well, hang on. Let me
many
finish
beers
this.
did
Let me
you
finish
have?
this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Huh? 2
Go ahead.
beers. So then I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I call my wife, who's still in Florida.
What did you call her?
Honey,
Never mind.
I said,
been
hey,
pretty.
you're not gonna believe this. I think I just saw a UFO. And then she's like, "Oh, really? Oh, that's exciting." And then I'm like, "No, I'm serious. I really think I did." She goes, "Did anybody else see it? Did you tell the neighbors?" I'm like, No. I explain all that. So then about an hour goes by, hour and a half, and I like Google it, and other people have seen it, and so they're like, "Hey." So then Wish TV dove in on it. It's Elon Musk's Starlink system.
Oh, yeah.
So the satellites during that week were visible to the human eye. Dude, it was weird. It looked like they were attached, like all these satellites, like right behind each other. And they looked like it looked like UFOs. But I didn't want it to be a UFO. What's that? You
Can you confirm this?
Nolan was probably in one of them.
Sure.
But
wasn't
anyways,
that a China balloon.
we'll be seeing that more and more across America.
So
those-
when was
those
this
Starlink.
producer Tony? I'm sorry.
Oh
Mike,
gosh, it might have been
conversation.
Monday night.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So over the Midwest, I guess they've been visible at certain time at night. And it was funny because I'm like, man, I don't want this UFO in my memory bank. Why the hell did I see that? I don't want to see a UFO, right? I'm like, I don't want this in my memory bank. I don't want it. And so,
Men in Black action, look in the light.
yeah, I'm like, man, they're going to show up in my house right now. They're going to ruin my freaking Monday night drinking beer. But anyway,
Priorities for you.
yeah. But anyway, so a lot of these things might be satellites.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Everybody's got satellites now.
Okay.
There's like 23,000 of them in space.
Yeah, and once in a while you run into a Chinese balloon.
Oh yeah.
Just
As
shoot it
a-
down. Don't bother
You just
getting.
shoot it down, yeah.
We don't want to know what information it got.
Yeah.
Just shoot it
Yeah.
down.
As a distraction.
Well, I don't know. It would be in Chinese anyway. We wouldn't get it.
I'm sure somebody can translate it.
Yeah,
Google
I'm sure.
can.
Well, yeah.
It might be an American balloon painted as a Chinese balloon.
There you go. Another conspiracy,
Conspiracy, there
just
we go.
started.
Right?
Uh-huh. That's how they start.
Who threw that out?
Nolan could tell us.
Yes.
Nolan,
What do you got on that
he
one,
speaks
CIA?
Chinese.
Shawn, you want to hop on a mic? Yes. Do you? Francois, would you mind?
No,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Sorry,
That's
sorry.
fine. Absolutely.
Francois, thank you very much.
No.
It's
BYO.
always a
Francois.
pleasure. We're going to keep everybody up to date on
Shifting gears.
the progress of
Downshift
yes, this
manually.
the movie, the book, the everything. We appreciate Francois' support and getting our name out there and helping push his book and his movie. Joining us now is the best bartender, in my opinion, in the whole wide world, Shawn. Shawn's the bartender here at the Great Divide, and he's an outstanding individual. Shawn went to Wabash, grew up in Indianapolis. So I'll let you tell your
Went to
story.
Wabash
Shawn,
College?
right?
Out there in Crawfordsville?
Yeah.
Big
Get up-
metropolis out there.
Get up on the mic.
You've been to
if you
Little
would.
Mexico, haven't you? The restaurant? Yeah, I know. There's nothing else out there.
I have been there. I don't think Jim really wants me representing the business, though.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
okay. Well, if you're not comfortable with talking
Yeah,
about
totally.
whatever, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want me to tell my story?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us where you're from.
What do you
and
do?
A little
Yeah.
bit about.
Who you dating? I mean,
There we go.
what you got going on?
Who aren't you dating?
That would be a shorter list.
Do you know French?
I'm from the West Side.
Right.
Went to Ben Davis.
There we go.
Ben Davis. That's a big school.
Yeah, a giant. So went from being a giant to a little giant. which is
So when you grew up,
Wabash.
Yeah.
when you grew up on the west side, were you more towards Mars Hill or more towards
Hallville.
Hallville,
I
okay.
grew up north of Long's Bakery.
Pull
Yeah.
that. There you go.
Yeah.
I found
You can
out.
pull it
You're not
out.
the first guy that said that to me.
Mount Street?
I'm sorry.
Mount Street,
Bellevue.
Bellevue. Okay.
How do you?
Uh,
Wait, how are you so familiar with?
I know Hallville very well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. You know what I found has been amazing. I think I'm like the fluffer for this
I
whole
don't think fluffer's the
situation.
word you want to use.
It is. Sean, yeah, that's the word he wants to
I think
use.
that was, am I allowed to say fluffer?
What?
You,
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you know, if you know, you know.
Mm.
For this situation, because I love the conversation.
Was that
behind
Mike?
the
Was
bar.
Mike Epps from the Hallville area?
Yeah, he was. He grew up on 16th
There is
Street.
Who's Mike
his
Epps?
Netflix. I'm sorry.
Who's Mike Epps?
Oh,
Mike
he's
Epps
hilarious.
is a
Are you
stand-up
serious?
comedian.
That is the whitest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, stand up.
I'm gonna back
stand up.
that up. I second that.
He
He is
represents
hilarious.
and he represents Indianapolis quite
Very well.
Very well.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
well. He has a stand up. He did a stand up at the Madam Walker that's on Netflix. And he talks about Hallville. He
Yeah.
talks about that because
you
I
probably
think
know
he was,
him. You just got to see his picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
Googling Mike Epps right
Oh,
now?
I know who he is.
Yeah, there you go.
He
Yeah, he's
represents us
from
really
it.
well, except for that
didn't know
time
he was
when
from here.
I think he was allegedly busted at an airport.
Yeah,
you know,
he
with,
talk. I think he
firearms.
talks about
Photo.
that.
Yeah.
But he is from Hallville area. I
Yes.
think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
All
north
right.
or just.
So then
west
you
of-
ended up at Wabash.
Yeah.
Going
yeah.
from one giant to another, like you said.
Yeah. I was accepted to a lot of colleges, but Wabash gave me the most money, so I
Yeah.
went there.
Mhm.
Yeah, but what I was saying is that so in college
ahead,
at
sorry.
Wabash. Oh yeah, stop interrupting.
Yep.
I studied
I deserve
psychology
that.
and religion, and I've had a lot of great conversations about religion. Do you guys ever speak religion on this
No,
podcast?
No, not really. No.
Entertainment. is what
Not
we go for.
fondly.
No.
Not
No,
fondly.
not fondly.
No, we're-
that's been
to
kind of
each
the
their own, though. To
consensus.
each their own. To each their own.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued. So I'm a 14-year season ticket holder at a Franciscan University in Indianapolis, Marion. We had one of the campus fathers come by our tailgate once, and we thought we had a really good deal. We thought, and it was right before Mass. He goes, "I got to go to Mass. I'll drink 2 beers." So he drank 2 beers with us, and I'm like, "Come back anytime." And every single time after that, we watched him intensely avoid our tailgate and walked clear the other way around the campus. I'm like,
Well,
what did we say that
That's
was wrong?
a sign from God, is what that was.
There, boom. There we go, Jeremy. Well said. Well said.
Think about that priest.
Right.
But at least he invited you back, though. Maybe it's because you didn't.
We
return.
invited him back. He didn't say a word to us.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
it
wasn't
wasn't the
mutual,
other
was
way.
it?
Yeah. It wasn't a mutual, like, yeah, he's like, these guys are, yeah, no. So anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I like the full range of religious experiences that I have been able to.
So what do you,
yeah.
do you mean,
speak
what
to
do you mean by
You're
that? Do you
dancing.
mean just like, well, I'm trying to ask the right question. I feel like I might be
say
asking
it.
the
Find the
wrong
right
question.
words.
Like the,
I'm here, who's
did you
That's what I was
listen?
wondering.
Did you learn about all religions? I mean,
Nolan.
because I think as Americans, it's either this religion or none at all.
Well, so that's the thing, right? So that's what Francois was saying to me, that he believes that everyone is brainwashed into whatever religion that they grew up in, which is fair, right? I was raised in, quote unquote, allegedly. Which I can understand that, like a lot of my family is that way, a lot of Southern Baptists. But I don't subscribe to that. No.
So are you saying that you subscribe to the?
So when I was in junior high, I took a cab I was a part of this organization it was named Children's Express. It was printed every Sunday in the, so what are you doing down there? What's in your
I'm just-
pocket?
Little pocket pull, are you?
Hmm.
Can't wait till you get home, eh?
I was a part of this organization called Children's Express, and we were printed every Sunday in the Sunday or the Indianapolis Star. And one day, my cab driver, he was Muslim. Was he Muslim? I don't know. He was something. He had a foreign accent. I think I'm being racist right now.
Right now?
Muslim, Hindu, probably one or the other.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that on this line. I'm
You're
sorry.
fine.
You have to edit
Nobody's
that out.
listening anyway.
You're number what, 36 out of 35. But he was like really offended by the fact that I was going to meet the Dalai Lama. He wanted to know whether or not my family knew that I was like, they're like, do your parents know what you're doing right now? Like, he was very upset about it. And I was like, yeah, they totally know that what I'm off to do. And, I think that people get so constrained by their religion. I think that spirituality is something different than religion.
Agree.
Interesting. That's well said. So when you were going to go meet the Dalai Lama or whatever, did he not understand that you were doing it as an educational thing? I mean, to kind of, and that's why you were doing it, right? Wasn't it
Some language?
No. So
Muslims really a strict religion.
It is. They're like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was really educational. I mean, as opposed to like meeting like a global superstar. You know what I mean? Like with one turn down meeting the Beyonce of like Tibet. But I did turn down also, like I was supposed to meet Fidel Castro. I turned that down to go to summer school.
What have been the positives and the negatives about like having that as something that you learn about, like religion? I mean, I guess, go ahead. I'll let you talk. Sorry.
The positive and negatives,
like of the religion or of learning.
I
or
think that
the education.
Positive, I don't think there are any negatives. I don't think there's ever any negatives. Most of my best friends from college and throughout life have been atheists, but I have a very strong faith in God. The other stuff is, chatter.
Do you understand why people might be atheist or are atheists?
Yeah,
or
because
whatever?
they are, zealots. I mean, they are so, they believe that there's only one God, but my God can encompass all religions. I can't even think on what my God.
Right. So me is, and I don't know, we don't have to tell me to shut up or whatever.
No, never.
Me as being an atheist, I need proof that there's something, and I can't see or I can't wrap my head around that there's proof that there's anything. And I'm not trying to be whatever. I just don't understand. I just don't have proof that something exists.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that, that my God created a scientific method. You know what I mean? Like there would not be anything without that. But the proof, I don't know. I don't know how to explain the proof.
Right.
The proof has to
and I mean the world basically.
I'm sorry, we don't have to talk about Jesus. We can talk about a lot of
Yeah, we can
things.
talk about something else.
We can talk about OnlyFans. We can talk. No, I enjoy talking.
No. But this is things I'd really rather not. But I'm open to discussing them because I want to understand. I want to try to be. Yeah. I just can't wrap my head around that. I just don't think that stuff.
You don't want to be tunnel visioned. You want to know everything about everything.
Yeah.
Or see everybody else's perspective.
And, I mean, but you look at the crap that goes on in the world. You're like, if there is or was a higher power, how is it that this crap's just allowed to continue to,
happen over and over again? Yeah.
And whatever. I'm not trying to.
No, that's fair. That's very fair. I think
I went years. It took me the longest time to admit that I was that way. I'm atheist. It took me forever because I always felt like I was going to be ostracized or whatever. And then finally, I'm just like, I'm fine to admit.
You should try being a homo or homo adjacent and believing as strongly as I do.
That's so. So when I talk to you, like hearing you talk and hearing to when I talk to Francis, I'm like, you both seem that you have high religious values, and I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah. So
how are you not ostracized?
I think that I find what I found is that most of my friends that are atheists are good people, not because of consequence or reward. They're just good people, and that makes you a child of God. God's fine with that.
I mean, if there is something like that, and I go through life questioning whether that exists, and if there is something afterward, I mean, because you question something, you're not accepted, or I mean,
there's a thing though, right? So do all dogs go to heaven?
I don't know.
So are we not the same thing? That's something that I think about often. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know about the whole pearly gates and streets of gold. I don't know if I believe in that.
Mm-hmm. Was that your major in college too?
Well, no, I studied Buddhism and Islam. Yeah, I studied a lot of it.
So was there
Christianity,
studying all the different religions? Was there one that stuck out to you more than others, or?
Well, I would say Islam, just because the guys were darker and hotter. You know what I mean? But even though they wanted to kill me or stone me.
Because
Religion, yeah.
Yeah.
because
That's how strict they are.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the one that stuck out.
because of homosexuality.
Yeah.
Just because they
Yeah.
view you as a different type of person, they
Yeah.
don't see you as an equal.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want to get rid of you.
They want to get rid of you, especially like I had friends from Triapia or from Eritrea. I'm sorry, which is basically what's the I'm sorry, Eritrea is fine, but they said that they had no homos in their country, and I was like, that's not really possible.
What about Iran?
No, Eritrea is a part of. I'm sorry, I'll get it.
Because I thought Iran's
Well,
leader
they're
had
all
said
like
that
that.
too.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of like
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Right, Saudi Arabia too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Where they
but-
don't allow
You're
women to
good.
drive, but now they do.
Yeah, which is
Right.
amazing, right? So they're
Yeah.
opening up. The
7, 8,
Crown
9
Prince,
kids, yeah.
they're opening
Can't
up.
drive.
So religion can sometimes get in the way of progress, but I think that my God is open to ideas. My God created all things. I'm sorry, we can talk about something else.
Send all your hate email this week to me if you would, please. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hey,
Yeah,
guess what?
I'll
I'm
send
gonna
it-
make you
send all
number
your hate-
2 on this.
Send all your hate. Send all your hate
We've
messages
moved-
to
we've
me this
moved up
week.
in the
I'll
rankings
take them
to number 35.
Ethiopia. I'm sorry.
Ethiopia, yeah.
Eritrea was a part. They had this whole war, and then they broke off. And
Yeah.
but they are like, oh my gosh, the girls from Eritrea are some of the most beautiful. They're like super dark, like beautiful hair, like big hips.
Can we use this podcast today as a launching pad to get your sister on this show finally?
well, she will probably. She'll talk to you about addiction and stuff, which is good. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Where did she go to school?
She went to Fisk in
Okay.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Like it was.
Is that an HBCU?
It
Not to
is.
assume. I
It
just
is.
assume that it is an HBCU.
Well, Wabash is not, but
I got you. Yeah.
Not
It is,
Crawfordsville, no.
no, it's nothing. I'm not going to use the acronym.
Yeah.
No,
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
We're about $140 right now.
All right. What do we want to
We
do?
probably need
We're
to,
supposed to have other guests, but clearly I don't think Jen's not.
yeah.
Ooh, she has not texted me. I apologize.
That's
You're fine. You're fine. We'll just leave it at that. Are you good, or you want to hang out for a minute, or
Whatever you want me to do.
what are we?
Just like-
Are
just
we
like
done
getting
at
the
a
closing
$140,
music,
or are we?
Dusting.
It's going to be hard to upload it.
Okay, so we're done now then.
We got a couple minutes left.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to the Ship's Gonna
Yeah, we
Happen
can talk, though.
podcast. What's that again?
We can still go. Got a couple minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't want a hard end. Or should we
Okay.
go into
What
the
is
outro?
Marianne's
or-
record right now?
They're 4-0. So
What?
what's
4-0?
Wabash's record right now? That's what I thought. Yeah, I knew better than that.
That is so
I knew better
petty.
than that.
That is
Or
so
whatever.
petty.
What else would you expect? Did you expect anything other than being petty?
Go Little
So
Giants.
Are they both D3?
NAIA, and then Wabash is D3, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, just a step above.
Right. Well, you alone are a step above, Shawn.
Oh,
So,
I love you.
I don't, do you? Do you? So what do we think? Random. Oh, so let's random thoughts. I had the worst Uber ride in the world coming down here. The worst Uber driver ever. She picks me up, and I'm watching her come from the highway, the 267 exit off of 65, and it's taking her forever. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? So I get there, she picks me up. So this kind of ties into our Shawn conversation just a little bit. So she picks me up, and I always call the driver by name when I hop in. So I get in, and her name's Marcy. I said, "Hey, Marcy, how you doing?" And she has a thick African accent, and so she's like, "Put your seatbelt on." I'm like, I'm working on that. And then she goes, "I'm on the phone." I'm like, "Well, I don't think you're supposed to
Yeah.
be."
And I'm like, whatever. And so we start driving, and at least half of the trip, she starts saying every 3 seconds, amen. I'm like, oh no. And amen. Praise Jesus. She's on the phone the entire time. Praise Jesus. Amen.
That's why that's what I say every time I wake up.
And then so I'm trying to help I can clearly tell she's not paying attention to the navigation. I'm like, left, right. You know, if that GPS told her to turn right on upcoming North Street, she thought North Street would be like right here.
Yeah.
She's slowing down. I go, keep going or whatever. And she kind of gave me the look, and I'm like, trying to help. And it was the absolute worst Uber ride in history. Not because of hey, you shouldn't be on the phone, just stick to driving. And it was just god awful.
Keep going under his eye.
Yeah, just,
yeah.
Well, and it was terrible. So that's my
Uber,
random
Uber,
thought.
Uber. So we had an Uber ride at Louder Than Life
In Louisville.
Went to the Louder Than Life concert series. And
who did you see there?
oh my gosh, who did I not see?
Probably Slayer.
One of the wildest experiences I've ever had in my life. Too old for it. It's a young man's game or a girl's game. So the Uber driver, we get in and she's on the phone, totally speaking Hispanic Latin to whoever she's speaking to. Didn't even really say hi or anything.
Right.
So we get in and she takes off and I grew up with a lot of Latinos. So I'm like, hey, are you working tonight? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh. And she's real short on the phone, still gets back Latin. Blah, blah, blah. And then because we couldn't book a Uber at 11 o'clock.
What?
Yeah, it said you had to wait till like 11:45
because it was the end of the concert.
Because there's too many of them, right?
Oh.
So then I said, because I was like going to make a deal with her, like come back and So she's like, and she's just like nonchalant, didn't care. So then I said, hey,
shocking.
So she goes, I go, well, we need a ride tonight. We can't book one. And then I go, do you know anybody that's working tonight? And then she turns around, she goes, well, my dad is. And I'm like, what's his number? Well, get him, make sure we pick him up at 11. And she just kept talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And then finally at the end, Ann said something to her, and then she was like, yeah. And then we booked with him and got a ride out. But it was like, it took like the whole ride for her to like
process.
Yeah. It was like, we want to make money or not. I mean,
on time delay.
But it's a big thing though to have that though, Uber. I mean, gosh, it saved us so much walking time.
Oh, dude.
Back in the day, we didn't have that. It was just like a yellow taxi cab, right?
I miss the taxis though.
It would be nice to have them around. Are they still around?
No,
I'm not sure.
not really. There's like a Z trip at least here in the city, but
because we had that big taxi cab thing off Holt Street, right?
Leaving
It's
here
gone.
on the west side.
Yeah.
Leaving here yesterday, I think we had a Z trip car. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
Huh?
When they, are we done?
No, we're still talking.
Yeah, we're going.
When they first
Wait,
started
now we're
Uber and
done.
Lyft, I was really concerned because Uber drivers actually have to like be licensed,
Right?
Get their coin, at least in New York City, right? Like they go through a lot to get to that point. And here I am with somebody's mom that needs, a latte, and that really was concerning to me. I was like, this does not feel safe, and my sister started doing it. And it was like, I'm like, this is not a safe procedure. And now, whatever. And then they're underpaid. I mean, how many people could it possibly take to figure out the algorithm?
Right.
You know what I mean? For which cars go where. I mean, Like, there's an AI. There's all their jobs are going to be gone.
Dave's been told no before.
Well, I've been married for 30 years, so that's the only thing.
Not only that, but Uber.
No.
Uber's looked at your route before and been like,
yeah, I've been told no multiple times.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I've never said no.
Well, they've
to
had
that.
you guys had a guest that used to drive for Uber. He said he makes more money on short trips than he does the long trip.
Yeah.
That way he can
bouncing around.
Yeah.
He's got none coming back from Lebanon.
It's
Yeah.
bonus for how many people you can drive
Yeah.
or how
They're
many
like
people
Lebanon.
you have. Yeah.
Well, who doesn't want to go to Lebanon?
It's a big metropolis.
It is. So every single time when I get an Uber out of here, every single time it always bounces like drivers just keep,
Really?
yeah, pick it up, drop, pick it up, drop, pick it up, drop.
But if it was airport, they'd be on it.
Oh,
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah. But anyway, so are we.
Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode 116.
I want to say thank you to everybody.
Yeah,
before we
do it. Let's go.
Thanks for
Thanks,
Jeremy.
man.
Thanks for Jeremy for sitting in today
Yep.
in Timmy D's spot.
You could-
Shawn,
yeah.
thank you very much.
Sean, thank
we,
you.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
you're
you.
awesome, Shawn.
Hopefully, again,
God
we get your
bless.
sister
You
on
too,
next
buddy.
time. Take that part out. No, I'm joking. I'm
No.
joking. I'm joking. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
You're gonna get contacted by the
Again,
Anti-Defamation
send your
League.
hate. Send all your hate messages to me this week. I'll take them.
I will
so.
spell my name out. They can have my Gmail. I don't care.
Nolan, thank you very much. Francois, thank you very much. It's been outstanding. Thank you to the Great Divide. Thanks to everybody. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and Tony will get this up in a few
Couple
days.
months.
New York Minute.
So thanks to everybody. This is the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
We're out.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thank you, Shawn.